What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Tomorrow. I am your host, Mike Kinney, and with me today,
Old Faithful, your co-host, Randy Herrig, back again.
I want to point out that we have been trying to minimize our technical difficulties, and a majority of the time, it is my fault. We've talked about this many times before, but today it is your fault. Randy is microphoneless, so the audio is going to be a little bit off.
In fairness, everybody out there, still his fault because he sent me the equipment.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It is your responsibility to take care of said equipment.
It is true. It is true. It's been in a box for like fucking month.
Well, this is the first time we've recorded like this in quite a while, because we were live at North Star Pro, and then we were live at WrestleCon. So it's been a minute since we've sat down, and Randy's got chips. Why not? Audio snafus galore, and he's going to go ahead and feed the beast. So we touched on WrestleCon just a second ago, and if you want a full WrestleCon recap, you have to head over to Patreon. We have a full hour-long episode over there on our bonus section of us just talking about WrestleCon. But man, what an event! I had a great time.
Oh yeah, dude! All kinds of fun. Godfather was there. Fabe Mike.
Yeah, he did.
Macho Man Randy Savage's cousin, I believe, was there with a couple of Macho Man's actual ring jackets. One of those made an appearance. So you really got to go over to Patreon to see this stuff, because I can't do it justice.
Yeah, it's
that really was cool to see, and it was right behind us.
Yeah, and I know we talked about this quite a bit on this bonus episode we're talking about, but man, being able to, I just wanted like the one thing that stands out to me, if I'm going to, and I want you to just give the fans here like one takeaway from it, but mine, aside from meeting all kinds of really cool people and interacting with some new audience members, and we appreciate you out there following us along. Listen, you and I, we talked about this on the other episode, but I keep thinking about this. Before the doors had opened, Demolition, the Hall of Fame tag team, Demolition was kind of sitting over to our left. We could see them the entire time. And before the doors opened, we just kind of sat there and we're hanging out, and we're just kind of watching them put their face paint on, which to a non-wrestling fan doesn't sound like a big deal, but like
a big deal. But this happened every night in the locker room before they came out and made magic. Like, this is something else.
The cool thing is that, like, you know, when I was a little kid, like Demolition was on top, right? So being able to see them now, just kind of like hanging out and doing their thing, is like I had to take the business wrestling mind off, that hat completely off, and just be a fan. And that was one of my favorite things of the entire weekend. What was yours?
Well, I mean, obviously, anything like that, hearing the Sandman do the flip out, Mick Foley flipped the table over, and everybody thought he was mad, but it was a bit for this little thing they were doing. Yeah. He flipped his entire merch on the floor, and everybody was like, oh my God, what happened? Because it's Mick, you don't do that. And I got it was altogether an awesome thing. One of the funniest things I thought is that, for whatever reason, and you've touched on this before too, is that people kept coming up to me. Hey, Godfather comes in, gives me a hug, walks by Mike. You know, everybody is like, Mike, you know.
It was the most
almost
bizarre
like
thing.
You were filming it for a show to see what he would do. It was almost like one of those reaction things, but it was totally organic, and just for whatever reason, evidently I was approachable or looked happy, and he looked upset. I don't know. I didn't notice anything. He wasn't in a surly mood.
No.
Or anything.
Did I have a resting bitch face? Is that what we're saying?
Not any more than usual.
Thank you.
So, honestly.
I have told people that story, though. Like, it happened multiple times with people just being so excited. And these are like wrestlers and shit that have been on TV. They were so excited to see Randy. They did not know Randy. They would just walk by him and be like, hey, and then just completely ignore the fact that I was standing there. And I was like, what the fuck is happening here? So,
which just goes to show you can be a nobody and you can still pretend to be somebody, and it works.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Pretend like you've been there, and you were certainly.
I was in my element. I will say I had a ball. It was one of the best times that I can remember having in so long.
Well, if you want to see the full recap, you'll have to head over to Patreon. It's patreon.com/wrestling with tomorrow. There are many tiers for you to join us. You can even join the Patreon for free. Again, if you want to be watch us film this live, there's an option for you there. If you want to watch all the bonus episodes, every single month we add an additional bonus episode. Like I said, August is the WrestleCon recap. September, we're doing something a little bit different. You want to give the people a little glimpse as to what the bonus episode is for September?
No.
Because you forgot?
No, I didn't forget. You tell them.
Okay.
Tell them, Steve Dave. It's a Kevin Smith reference.
I got that one. We are doing our top 5 favorite things to cook. And I know we got a lot of parents out there. So the idea is that, hey, maybe we can give you a couple of tips on some of the stuff we cook for our kids, man. But 5 things a piece that we like to make. And I don't know if we're going to do a full-blown recipe thing for it, but we're going to do the best we can with it. So if that interests you, that'll be over there as well. But we've got bonus episodes for everything. We've got a lot of stuff planned for the remainder of this year for the podcast. We've got a number of interviews coming up. Some I'm excited about. I shouldn't say that.
Some of them will be the shits, but just stay tuned through them anyways.
That is not what I meant.
Wow.
I'm excited for all of them because they're all a little bit different. Some of them have nothing to do with wrestling and have more to do with rebuilding, being resilient, rebuilding your confidence, those kinds of things. And we want to make sure we give all of you the tools to be able to do that. You can also find
a pretty important facet of our show.
It is. You can find us on the social medias of the world. We are over on TikTok at Wrestling with Tomorrow. We are over on Instagram as well at wwt.pod. So follow us along on those. Give us a like. And we would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? Anything else? I think I hit all the high spots for the good housekeeping section here.
You did. Just here's something that since WrestleCon has come and gone, and before today, a couple of birthdays came through. Michael Pam, he just had his birthday, so happy late birthday for you, buddy. And also forgive me too, Mike. You're gonna know this guy better than me. Who is the kid that came? I did the promo with him at WrestleCon. He has a huge title belt because he had a birthday too.
That is Navarre.
Yes, Navarre. I should have remembered that too. But happy late birthday, buddy.
All right, man. Well, it's that time in the episode where I'm going to tag Randy in for his hot tag. Take it away, buddy.
All right, so I have been running and gunning. Okay, we did the show at North Star Wrestling. The very next weekend, I believe, was 2 weeks, we went to WrestleCon. That was a blur. And right after that, I headed south. For those of you that don't know, my oldest daughter signed up for the National Guard, so she went to basic training. And she got through that basic training piece and now was getting ready for AIT, so she was going to graduate. So I made my way with Nikki and my other daughter and our corgi Scarlet, the road tripping pooch, down to Lawton, Oklahoma. It's Fort Sill is the place, and went down there, had family day with Paige. That was pretty emotional. And then the very next day she graduated. They had a nice little about 45-minute ceremony. They had it in the chapel, so the chaplain did a prayer. They did all the stuff, and they took the oath that they're all officially soldiers. So proud of you, honey.
Very good. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, dude, it was awesome. But my hot tag today, I had to tell you that just to get to where we are. So we drove from Minnesota down to Lawton, Oklahoma, and stayed at a bed and breakfast, right? About 11 hours on the road, approximately, without stops. Okay, so we had never, ever stopped at Buc-ee's before, so we decided to take a little detour on the way home and zip over to Joplin, Missouri, and then head to Albert Lee, which actually added on another 3 or 4 hours to the trip, but we really want to check this place out and stuff.
Wait a minute. Joplin or Springfield?
Excuse me, Springfield.
I was like, man, I didn't think they had one in Joplin, but yes.
No. Springfield. Which still is not my point. Now, right before we got there to the Buc-ee's truck stop, which is phenomenal, by the way. If you've never been, you should go because it's a sight to behold.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I'm driving, and the girls are all just kind of looking at their phone or dozing, and the dog's asleep in the back. And I see this big bunch of smoke ahead. Now, down there, it was about 104 degrees. There obviously wouldn't have been any burning or stuff allowed right now because it's very dry, and it wasn't somebody burning leaves, let's just say, or cleaning the yard up. So I'm coming up and curving through the roads, and I come up on this full-size, like, tour bus that, you know, like an artist would take from fair to fair or something, a big, or one of those giant recreational buses you can get for your family.
Yeah.
High dollar rig. On fire underneath. So I rolled up past that, and I pulled over to the side, and I jumped out and ran back, and it was a gentleman and his wife and his daughter and their little Frenchie bulldog were in this. I didn't know if it was a busload of kids on a trip, you know, before school started for church or something, or was it a band going someplace? Was it just some family? I didn't know who it was, so I stopped. I ran back. The mother and daughter came off the bus. I helped them get their bags off. Another guy stopped that later told me that he lived up just an exit or two. A local guy stopped, and we got the extinguisher. He got that sprayed underneath there and got the fire out, right? So the guy comes out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so thankful. I'm gonna take care of you," and this, that, and the other. I said, "Hey, you got your family out. Everybody's okay. You're dealing with stuff. Don't worry about me. I don't need nothing. I'm happy that everybody's cool. Don't worry about that." Well, he insisted on taking down my name and phone number. Now, like I said, I don't need anything. But the thing that's really weird about it is the guy never did call. So now I just kind of wonder, like, how did things turn out? You know, I just like to hear, you know, it was this, and we got back on the road and made it back to Chicago because it's where he said he was from. But now I have this ponderance in my head, like, you know, weird, you know. I didn't need money from him. I don't need thanks or a big pat on the back or anything like that. You know, I just was brought up that way. If you can stop and help somebody, you try to do it. If you can't, you can't. And I could, you know. So everything was cool. They were safe. Seemed like a very nice family or whatever. But now I just wonder what happened.
Was this still in Oklahoma? Was that stretch of highway between Tulsa and Joplin? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was probably half hour south of Springfield.
Half hour south of Springfield? So
yeah, it was before we got to Buc-ee's.
Was it like an Ozark?
Not quite.
Okay.
But you're like that general area, but just coming up that just straight old highway, not going through the woods and like you'd think Missouri is.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I know exactly the highway you're talking about because my mom lives right outside of Springfield. So
yeah. So yeah, like I said, I never heard. The state trooper showed up, fire truck showed up, like just a little pickup. You know, they saw that we had the fire out, so they were just inspecting to make sure it was okay. But we were about 2 or 3 miles from an exit where there was a TA, truck stop right next to it. So they just need a small toll over there and stuff. But pretty sure that guy was pretty screwed because he told me, he goes, "I'm going to try to start it up again and see if it'll start." All right, Well, he did, and it was just pure white smoke. So I'm pretty sure he blew his head gasket on a bus like that. I'd hate to guess what price that would cost. I have no idea. Yeah. But it was. Well,
there you are. You're out there just refilling your karma bucket. That's what's happening.
Just doing what you're supposed to do. Like I said, don't need to pat on the back or a reward or nothing like that. Just trying to do good. But then I was like, man, that dude never even called. Yeah, like I can't believe that. Like, whatever. Bottom line, I hope they're okay and stuff. But
there you go. It's all you can hope for. Hope for the best and plan for the worst. Is that the old adage?
I guess. Throw up a couple of prayers here and there. I don't know.
All right, Randy. Well, today's main topic is all about when your calendar. Now, I want to be very clear about this. The title of this episode is going to be called "Your Calendar." Your calendar doesn't care if you're tired. Now, I want you all to think about that first.
Neither does your alarm clock.
Yeah,
alarm clock.
And that's part of it, right? Your calendar can be many, many different things, but your calendar, the things that you have to do, your responsibilities, your roles, everything. Your calendar does not care if you're tired. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to you to figure it out. And so, I started thinking about, last time we recorded. So there's a lot that's happened to me since the last time we recorded. Just 1 week ago from the recording of this video, I had to drive my daughter to college and drop her off. And it's about, from where I live, it's almost 5 hours away, which is, it's just far enough to be far away and not quite far enough to be far away at the same time. So, but that was hard, man. There's a lot of tears. It changes the dynamic in your house. We got home and it's just a little quieter. It's and not that she's a loud person or anything. You guys all understand what I'm saying, but it changed the dynamic. It's
like they're gone and you're just waiting for them to come home.
Yeah.
Like, it's just quiet here. Not everybody's home.
Yeah.
One of them deals.
For sure. And, my twin boys, they started 9th grade high school the day after we got back. So we got back on Sunday. They started high school and football practice on Monday. So, and they work as well. So my boys have a job and they're very, very busy. And so school activities and sports are back. And, there's still work that needs to get done as the parents. We still have plenty to do. There's the vacuuming and the laundry and the dishes and the mowing of the yard. And this podcast still needs to get made. And, life just doesn't stop to ask whether or not I have anything left in the tank. And that goes for all of us out there. Life doesn't do that. And so life just keeps showing up, and it's really all up to us to be able to withstand the storm sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Absolutely, dude. My household has changed so much over the years. You see, like, if you don't know me that well, there was 5 kids in our house, right? And that's dwindled down to right now. Paige stays with us, of course, but she's gone to basic. And my daughter, Addie, she's just a junior in high school. But all 3 of my boys that lived here the whole time one's married and moved and has a place, and 2 other ones are through college and have longtime girlfriends and they have a place. And the empty nest thing is very much what it kind of feels like. It really does. It's not just some cutesy name. It feels real empty at times.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept too, because it's that age now where, and you and I are a few years apart in age. So it's when I, like my classmates and stuff, I'm looking, I see them on social medias and things like that too. And they're all kind of in that same realm, maybe give or take 2-3 years, but they're all within that same radius of life changes. And the empty nest thing is big. If I look back to, 4 years ago, when my daughter started high school, that was 2022. So think about that for a second. That was fresh off of COVID. Like we were kind of coming out of it, almost completely out of it at that point. And it flew by, man. Like 4 years flew by. And I have no doubt the same thing is now going to happen with my sons. They've already been back to school for a week and they're into the swing of things and routine. My wife also, I didn't even mention that. My wife is a full-time special ed para at an elementary school in our town. And so,
nice.
During summer, she's off, right? So she's back to work. And so there's all these things happening. And it's sometimes it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And so that's what I'm sharing. That's why I want to bring it up today, because, this time of year can be exhausting for parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
back to school, fall sports, and then there's everything else that comes with that, right? There's school pictures, there's homecoming, there's you got to think about it like this.
All the games, all the practices,
all of it.
All of that stuff. It's funny you bring up pictures too, Mike, because the day before we left, our school wasn't even in session yet, but we had to go in and she had to get a picture taken that morning before we left.
Yep.
They don't even do it during the school year now. Now it's even before that. Or at least maybe it is at our school. I don't know if it is at most of them or not. But
yeah, I think my boys had it this last week. It was like the second or third day of school. But regardless, it's still a time crunching thing, right? And so you're back to school. Then you've got Labor Day. Now, traditionally, when I was growing up, we always started school the day after Labor Day. My kids start school now in the middle of August, which is weird. Yeah, they get out, toward the end of May, but it's always like, it's just hard for me to still get used to because I'd start the day after Labor Day and then we would get out like the first week of June. So it's just a bit of a change. But anyway, so, you got all those games, everything else. Halloween comes in there. If you got little kids, you know how important Halloween is. And I'm a big kid, so Halloween is incredibly important to me. So we start celebrating like a month ago. And so then you go through Halloween and then all of a sudden it's Thanksgiving and then you got to prep for Christmas and then it's New Year and it just starts. It's like bing, 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 one thing after another, which is hard for anybody. But I'm specifically talking to you parents out there. I see you. I know how hard that is. But really, the main point I'm trying to make is there is a difference between being physically tired, okay, and emotionally drained. Physically tired, you're talking about like some of us still are. I mean, I'm still exercising, right? I'm still doing all of those things. And when I can get physically tired from that, and I'm mowing the lawn and doing all that. That's physically exhausting sometimes. Emotionally, the emotionally drained piece of it is like, that's really the crux of it is how are you going to process all of this and do it safely? I'm not condoning anybody, just go buy a 12-pack of beer and medicate. Because that's a short-term fix. The long-term fix is much harder to accomplish, right? So when you're emotionally drained, it comes down to what outlets do you have to just kind of decompress a little bit. And I will tell you, I want to know what your outlets are here in a second, Randy. For me, Bree and I went out to dinner last night and we were just chatting at dinner, right? And we started talking about the nostalgia of video rental stores and how much, like what every family kind of had their own process. In my house, it wasn't uncommon for us to do pizza on Friday nights when I was a kid. We do that now. And ironically, Bree's family was the same way. They did pizza on Friday nights. They went to the video store. Everybody rented a video. They came home for the weekend and watched the movies. That was almost identical to what my upbringing was like. And so we've replicated that in some ways. I still love movies to the nth degree. If you've been following me on social media at all, you know that horror movies are my bread and butter all day long. But that's still kind of one of the outlets that I have is I don't want to watch anything that's too complicated. I don't want to sound like I'm whining about it, but I like to watch movies sometimes where I can just unplug my brain and just relax. And I did that yesterday. I watched a horror movie called Passenger. Have you heard of this movie? No, you're shaking your head. No. Passenger sucks, but it's fine because it was fun. So, but what do you do? When you're emotionally drained, Randy, what is it that you do for fun? You're holding up a Grim Reaper toy. I'm hoping that that's not saying that you die.
No, dude, this is an original one from the Clash of the Titans line back in the day, dude.
Okay.
One of the four figures in that, but you're talking Halloween, so I thought that fairly topical. The Boatman.
When you're emotionally drained, Randy, what is it that you do to decompress a little bit?
I listen to music.
You do?
A lot, dude. If I'm sad, if I'm pissed, sometimes I'm just nostalgic and thinking about my old family members or back in the day, and then I'll listen to some stuff from then or whatever. We've talked, and about music being a powerful tool.
And we're going to utilize some of that knowledge later on this fall, where we start suggesting songs for people that help us out.
Yeah, of course. I think that's a hell of a good thing to share. That might be something you're like, oh yeah, I remember that now. I've forgotten all about that. And it might be something new that you've never experienced. You're like, wow, what a awesome song. And how did I get by this long without even knowing it existed? But I do that. If I get real physically tired, then my emotions start getting a hold of me too. Like, I'll get mad easier or frustrated easier than I would normally.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think I'm the same way. I think there are many of our listeners that are the same way. I mean, that's just part of being human.
But how do you, I drive for a job, and my daughter does not understand how physically tiring that can be in a day. But I'm sorry, if you're up before 4 a.m. and you're picking up somebody a little after 4, and you don't get home till 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've been to Rochester and back into Owatonna and back over to Rochester, Mankato, wherever it is, that's tiring. It is. All that, focusing on the road. Maybe I should look at my phone the whole time so it's not as stressful, but a lot of people do that, and that's not the right answer. We know this, all that causes problems, so I don't try to look at anything. I'll put our pod on once in a while and listen to it, or I'll put some music on. And that helps me a lot through the day, stuff like that, or other pods too.
Sure.
But we don't promote the other pods, because that's what Shane said. You don't promote anything that's.
He is right.
For once.
Yeah.
Even a broken clock's right twice a day, Shane.
That's true. So. But yeah, we touched on it before a little bit. One of the things that I did want to bring up is, if you have multiple kids, when your first one goes off to college, the thing that's easy to forget is that the kids at home still need you. And even though you're, and Bree and I were emotionally pushing through that. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that our boys right now have all the support that they need, while still being able to remotely support my daughter.
Sure.
And so that's one thing I want everybody to think about too, is just because one leaves doesn't mean the others still don't need you. You still have to, again, your calendar does not give a shit if you're tired. And so you need to be able to push through all of that. At the end of the day, it really comes down to time management and emotional management, and you have to have some of these outlets. I don't care. I can't encourage all of you enough to find, Randy, you're going to have to blow your nose at some point. I think that's going to be, you got to get you some tissues. I think that everybody needs a hobby of some kind, and it doesn't have to be anything extreme. It can be something incredibly laid back. But the part that I want to emphasize the most is I've been down the rabbit hole of self-medication. And I think that a lot of you out there have either know somebody that was like that, or you have experienced it yourself. And that is a dead end street. So do not take up drinking or anything else as your new hobby because you're sad and whatever else, or eating. Randy is specifically eating chips and saying, he's absolutely, I got it. I can read Randy sign language. Mm-hmm. And so, but the point is don't do anything self-destructive, because there are still plenty of people out there that need you. You have to be able to condition yourself to move past the hurdles. And here's the big secret that nobody really wants to ever talk about is life never stops throwing hurdles at you. It never stops throwing hurdles at you. That is the one thing that is consistent that I have noticed, outside of death and taxes, as they say, that life will throw you hurdles nonstop. And how do you manage that? For you religious folks out there, there's I'm going to get this wrong, okay? I'm going to get this wrong, but it's like God doesn't give you any more than you can handle. I think that's the saying. And so think about that as well, right? So the universe isn't going to give you any more than you can handle. Sometimes it's hard, and it's like, why does this keep happening to me? Sometimes it takes a self-reflection. You got to look in the mirror. Maybe some of it, some of it's self-inflicted. Minimize that.
A lot of times that's the case,
dude. Right? I look at some of the people that we all know people that sit around and feel sorry for themselves, and the ones that complain about it the most, there are people that will ask me for advice. Here's what I'm going to tell you about that, Randy.
Yep.
Anybody can ask me for advice, and I usually don't give advice unsolicited. So when somebody asks me, what do you think I should do in this scenario? If I give you advice and you don't take my advice and you come back to me and complain again, I'm not giving you any more advice, because I've already told you what I would do in that scenario, or what I think you should do in that scenario. And if you didn't try that yet, then what are you coming back to me for? So
right. Obviously that advice wasn't good enough to be what you wanted. So now you're coming back to that source for something different.
Usually it's because they want you to tell them what they want to hear. And I'm not in that business either. So that's one of anybody who knows me for a long period of time will tell you, I do not tell you what you want to hear. That is my thing.
Most of the time there's no value in that.
Right.
You can say, hey, Mike, your situation, you're right, but there's nothing you can do. You have to get through whatever situation it is, whether you think that the boss is wrong or this, that, and the other. Like, you're right. Your thinking is right, but you still have to get through this thing. Like, there's no problem with something like that, saying, look, dude, you're not out of your mind with this.
Yeah.
But that's not going to solve it. We have to figure out how to solve it so you don't have to worry about it in the first 100%. Place.
A lot of it comes down to, like the mental processing of all of it. Because if you're not careful, what happens is like nobody's busier than me. I'm going to tell you that right now. And we're all probably equally busy. So that's my point, is we're all super busy.
Sure.
And in my mind, nobody's busier than me. We've all got a million things going on. So here's what I want to tell you about that.
And a million excuses.
That's it. And that's the piece. that is the exact piece. It is, if you don't know how to manage your schedule and you're not doing it effectively, you're going to face burnout. Burnout will tear you down at the knees, buddy. But here's what happens beyond that. That burnout turns to resentment. And let me give you an example. Let me give you an example what that looks like. Okay.
Yep.
So for me today, I have to go pick my boys up. You and I, before we got on here, I was like, dude, we have a very strict schedule that we have to follow today, because I am running and gunning all day long. I have to take my boys to work, and they're not old enough to drive. So that's my responsibility as their father to do that. And I'm going to do that. But here's what the resentment piece can turn into, right? So you heard how I just told you I got to take my boys to work. This is what the resentment side of it would sound like if that was the case. It'd be like, oh God, now I got to take my boys to work. I don't have time to do anything for myself. Blah, 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 right? Listen.
Tina, eat your ham. God.
Here's the advice I want to give you about that. And I just told you I usually don't give unsolicited advice, but this is going to be the exception. If you start talking like that, just shut the fuck up, right? Nobody gives a shit. And I'm not trying to be an asshole about that. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, if you don't care, why is anybody else going to care? Don't complain about it, right? What are your roles and responsibilities as a human being that you are? You don't even have to have kids in that scenario. Oh, I got to go to work today. No. You get to go to work today.
Mm-hmm. And nobody wants to go to fucking work. Everybody has a million other things they'd rather do. Everybody. Nobody I want to go in and do overtime. No, you don't.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What, money aside, okay, let's pretend that every job pays you $5 million a year, okay? Just to put the money conversation on the table for a little while, or off the table, I'd rather. What's your dream job? If you could do anything in the world, Randy, and I'm going to make a point here in a second, but then I'll tell you what mine is. So, like, you just tell me whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. If you could do anything in the world and money was no object, what would it be?
That's a hell of a question. That's a question you ask yourself when you're a younger guy.
Right.
Like, at this point, what the fuck would I do?
I want everybody out there to think about this too.
You know what I think I would do? Because I have a mind that's always going and a million ideas. And I'd like to take a stab at making some movies.
Okay.
I think that would be a great, fun, but stressful thing too.
Okay.
A lot involved.
Director.
No, I don't want to direct. I want to write the son of a bitch.
Okay.
I want to produce this. I want to do the whole goddamn works.
Okay, so I'm going to use that as an example.
That's a lot.
because I want everybody out there. I'm going to prove a point here in a second.
Sure.
About this whole job thing. Okay. About, I have to go to work. Okay. So writing, you want to be a script writer. Okay. I'm not, and I'm not here to tell you you're right or wrong. I'm here to just prove this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Now you're writing scripts and you don't have to worry about your bills because those are all paid for. Again, money off the table. But now you're a writer.
Yep.
Okay. And is this a job? I want you to think about this if you're listening out there. If money was no object, you didn't have to worry about that. What job would you do? Now I want you to start thinking about that. Next step, start thinking about what are some of the things that are going to hold you back. And I'll give you an example again. Perhaps, Randy, you're a writer now. Okay. And now all of a sudden you run out of ideas. Now you're stressed out. I don't know where to take the script. I don't know how the story is supposed to unfold. Okay. Maybe that's one hiccup. Now, maybe another hiccup is you've got this script done and you're trying to sell it, but you can't find anybody to buy it. Nobody likes my ideas. Oh, dang it. Like, you see what I mean? It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what the job is, guys. It doesn't matter because there are going to be hiccups for every single job. There's going to be stressors for every single job. There are people out there, and these people are sick. I'm going to tell you, they are messed up in the head, that have said that if they've won the lottery, and I'm talking the big one, that big Powerball, whatever, like the big mamma jammas, where they would still work and have a job on the side.
You're fucked in the head.
Yeah. If I were to win that Powerball, number one, the only way to win, I don't gamble, so I will never win the Powerball. My point is that if I came into money like that, I'd never work again. I would find things to do. I would travel. I would have hobbies. I would barbecue my ass off, but I ain't working. That is the only time that I can think of where you can wake up in the morning and not have stressors around the actual job you have to report to, even if it's your dream job.
I told my boys when they were getting into the age of getting jobs and thinking about careers and stuff like that, I said, if you can find a job that you like, 3/4 of the time, you like the job, you probably got it made. Right. Every job is going to have them days where it's the worst goddamn day that you ever had at that job. You don't want to be there. You don't feel like it. You didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. Whatever it is, every job's going to have that. If you like your job most of the time, you're probably doing something good.
Yeah, that's true. You're absolutely right. So again, I'm just trying to give you all out there another perspective on this. I told you, I'd tell you, like, listen, I lived my dream job. I wrestled. And
that's just it.
Money aside, right? But that came with an enormous amount of stressors. It's very political. I hated traveling and being on the road, not because I hate traveling, but because, man, you'd hit one town to the next. You wouldn't have time to do any sightseeing or anything. You're just right back in the car and you're back at it with a bunch of stinky, sweaty fucking wrestlers that hopefully you have a decent time with. But it's just, it's not true traveling. You're just burning one town to the next, and sometimes you lose track of them. But what I'm saying is that, like, every single job out there is going to have some kind of stressor. So don't use that as your excuse to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
and if your job sucks, do something about it.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
If you hate your fucking job, find something else.
I've been a sales leader for a long time. I've been running sales teams since right before COVID. So coming up on 10 years now. And every time I have a sales rep that wants to complain to me about their job, I tell them all the time, you have two choices. You can either stay or you can go. One of them I can help you with, but the other one, you're going to have to put some work in. And that's it. And that's for any job. You have the option. You stay or you go. Okay?
Yeah, that's just it.
Nobody has the bandwidth to hear you sit around and complain and do the woe is me stuff. Nobody.
No. And even if they do listen to you, it's going to be for a short time before they're avoiding you.
That is true.
It's going to be enough of it. There's a lot of people that'll listen to you and be like, yeah, dude, that's shits. But after a while, they're going to be like, You're still on this? Like, why haven't you done something different?
Now, there is one thing that will come up as well, is if you're managing your calendar effectively and you're not letting it eat you up, and you're still finding that you're in the early stages of burnout, or you're just super stressed out. What I've talked to other dads about this, is there's a level of guilt that comes with, carving out time for themselves. And whether that is shooting a podcast with their friend, or they are going on a guy's trip or a gal's trip, or going shopping with their friends, or whatever, right? If you're doing something that's outside of your family box, there's a little bit of guilt that comes with that. And so as a parent, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, just know that it's okay to find time for yourself if the end result is that you will be a better human being and a better parent. But do not mistake what I am saying. I am not telling you to abandon your responsibilities over and over again because you need time for yourself. You have to be reasonable with this as well. This isn't the day, I'm talking to just you parents out there, just you parents. The day you decided to be a parent, whether it was an accident or on purpose, doesn't matter to me, but there was a decision made at some point that got you to the point where you're a parent. That's the day that you had to table being selfish, because now you have to worry about other people.
You table all your shit.
Yep.
Your shit goes to the back burner now,
and forever.
And the thing, like you driving them boys to work or whatever it is, a little thing like that. Sometimes it's not all about you.
You got it.
Your life is about a few people, not just yourself, and that's a hard concept to figure out.
And you got to
that's why after a long day and a meeting at the end of the day and getting ass chewing from your boss and stuff, you still make it to dance recital for the little girl that it's her whole fucking world that you showed up and sat in the damn bleachers for a half an hour. That's why you do that shit.
And so think about that too. The like for me personally, from basically August 1st through Christmas, let's just call it New Year's. So August 1st to January 1st is the absolute busiest time of year for me. Okay. The first half of the year, not so busy. The second half, I am swamped, and it's every single year. It's everything from personal responsibilities to work responsibilities to home responsibilities. So all these things combined, what I want to have everybody know is that there's an incredible level of importance that comes with being present during those times instead of wishing the busy season away, because the busy season will fly by. And I've been guilty of it. There's times where I'm just like, man, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this to get done. I coached Pee Wee football for the last 5 years. This is the first year since I started doing that I'm not coaching football. Why? Because my kids are off to high school now. They have other coaches. So now I just get to be present. But there were times during those coaching seasons that it gets, you're dealing with parents, you're dealing with other coaches, where you're like, man, I can't wait for this season to get done. And right, wrong, or indifferent, if I would have just focused more on being present, and at times I would make that call, because I worked very hard at being a coach, as we all do. And trying to be present during those busy times, it's easy to wish the busy stuff away. It's easy to do that, but it draws you away from being present. And the reason that you're there anyway, whether you're coaching, whether you're just showing up for your kids, whatever it is, the reason that you're there is because you're trying to support other people. And it's really, really hard to support other people when you've already got the mindset of, I don't want to be here. And part of that is wishing that busy season away.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Love what you do, man. Yeah. Even like you were talking about, mow the yard and do you like mowing the yard?
I hate it.
What if you lost your leg and could never do it again?
That's a good change of perspective. I'm
just
thankful,
saying.
I'm thankful I can do it.
Like, I wouldn't miss doing it, but I bet you at some point you'd be like, I wish I could still do it.
I'm very particular on how my yard needs to get mowed, and I know that I would rip people to shreds. Like, I would do it better.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if all of a sudden you couldn't do it, like, I hated doing that shit, but I still wish I could.
Yeah.
Don't be so, keep things in perspective a little bit if you can, like, there's a lot of folks out there that used to get up in the morning, go take a piss, brush their teeth, whatever, make some breakfast, go to work, everything, get in the car, go to the store whenever they want, and shut the key off, go back home, go to bed. They can't do that anymore.
It's fascinating you bring that up, because I think about this a lot, Randy. You've told me many, many stories about the people that you drive. And
I do.
I will say this: you're super professional. You don't tell me their names or anything, but you say, "Here's their scenario," and here, and that's what
Well,
happens.
there's
Is
a lot of thinking to do about that kind of stuff. Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's given me a massive amount of perspective, because when I do get into the mindset of like, oh, I have to do this, because we all get there, right? We
Oh
all.
yeah, every day.
I mean, it's part of the deal,
Yep.
but I start thinking about that. If you remember when we started this conversation, I said, you don't have to go to work. You get to go to work. Right. And that's part of that mindset from like listening to some of the people, their trials and tribulations that they've had, that you have to drive back and forth to the hospitals, the clinics, whatever it may be. I'm very, very lucky in a lot of ways. Like, I'm 44 years old. I'm still strong as ever. I'm healthy, so I get to mow my yard. It doesn't mean I like doing it, but I get to do it.
And you don't have to.
Right.
That's all subjective. You don't have to like it.
Right.
But the fact that you can.
Yeah, I mean, I stay in the fight all the way. I just that's just the deal, and that's what I want everybody to do. Is I just want everybody to stay in that fight, and be responsible about it.
Yeah, that's just it, and do whatever you do. Try to do it well.
Right.
And when you get your paycheck, you don't ever have to feel like, Jesus, I kind of just fucked off all week, and everybody wishes they could just get a free paycheck, but that's not how the world works. So you might as well put in some effort.
Yeah, and if you're a parent out there, I also want you to remember, and even if you're not a parent, I'm not sitting here thinking about that, because we got a lot of listeners that aren't parents as well.
Sure.
But you've got family,
uncle.
You've got
maybe
friends.
You're an uncle or an aunt or a godfather or something. Or
listen, people are going to remember what you do next. You're only as good as what you do next, and everybody loves a good comeback. So if you haven't gotten there yet, it's time. It's time to ring that bell. It is time to move forward, because somebody's watching. Somebody's cheering you on, whether they tell you to your face or not. And, I know my kids are watching. What's dad going to do next? I am a fighter. We've talked about this before. I got laid off twice in 12 months. I managed to bounce back from that. I did not relapse into alcohol during all of that. I feel like I am as strong as can be when it comes to that stuff. I still get down.
Of course you do.
I'm still a big softy.
That's human nature, man.
I'm very long toothed, but I want you all to remember that. It's like everybody is going to watch you in some way. How are you going to handle the next thing, that next hurdle that we talked about earlier? Because there's going to be some coming up. You don't even see them coming yet, but they're going to come. Everybody wants to see you and how you're going to jump that hurdle, and everybody's cheering you on. Everybody's cheering you on. Your kids, your family, your friends, everybody's cheering you on. Make it happen.
If they're not, don't keep them around.
Cut them out. Because you're only as good as the people that are involved. If you surround yourself by a bunch of losers, you're going to be one. I guarantee you. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but it's going to happen. You're going to fall into their traps. You got to surround yourself by good people. If you don't know how to do that, you need to network a little bit. You need to join an association locally, maybe whatever it is, right? Do something that's outside of your normal, that you're not comfortable with, that's going to change who you are tomorrow, because today you're not getting any better if you're just sitting there around a bunch of losers. Get rid of them. Move forward. You're going to be better off for it.
Yeah. And, make sure those ones that are around know how much you appreciate and how much you love them.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that. That's the most important thing I can tell you today.
Yep.
Those ones that love you unconditionally, you make sure that you're doing the same. And if not as much or more than you feel like you can, as much as you can.
My last piece of advice for your calendar. Okay, because we know your calendar doesn't care if you're tired. So you need to look at your calendar, whether it's an actual calendar or whatever. Just look at all the things you have going on. Is there anything that you're currently taking on that you can pull off your calendar that's not worth being tired for? Okay, think about that. Is everything that's on your calendar worth being tired for? And if you can sit there and objectively look at that, look at your schedule, look at your routine, look at everything that you have laid out in front of you, you can look at that and go, I probably don't have to do this. Take it off. Because I'm a list maker. I don't know if we've talked about this before. I make lists every day. I highlight things that I get done. I need to make sure that I'm pumping. I start with the most important things first. I have a very, very soggy memory. And so if I don't write things down, then I'm going to forget them. And every single day, I prioritize from top to bottom everything I need to get done. I will tell you, just for today, at the very bottom of my list, the top of my list is things like, doing this podcast and taking my sons to work. And I've got other responsibilities that are way more important today than things like, and I'm just reading it right off my list for today. Vacuum the stairs. Okay. Vacuum the basement. What else is on here? Water the lawn. You see what I'm saying? So it just comes down to, if I don't get to some of these things today, I'm not going to beat myself over the head about it. If I do get them done, great. But it isn't uncommon for me to still have things left at the end of the day that I didn't get done. Sometimes I have to punt to the next day or the next weekend or whatever it is and hope I get them done then. But sometimes they're just not important at all. So I need you to all think about that. What are you taking on today that you can remove from your plate that will help remove some of that stress from you so you can execute it, the things that are important to you at an incredibly high level? That's more important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Time management is not only just so you can get the stuff done, it's so you can keep your mind while getting it all done too. For sure.
Well, buddy, it is that time of the episode again where I don't bring out our friend,
the magic chip,
the magic 8-ball, whom recently has heat with Randy and I because it's been an asshole. The magic 8-ball has not been kind. But I know that you've got a question prepared. So here we go, Slick. I'm going to start shaking up the 8-ball. And whenever you're ready, lay that question down on me. Without having a ton of dead air.
Well, let me see if I can think of something here.
Okay. He is looking at his comic book.
Oh, no, that's a Far Side, dude.
It sure is.
The 8-ball has been such an asshole. I don't want to ask it anything.
Well, that's part of the deal. We have to loop it in. It's, we added this segment ages ago, and I think.
How would you like a damn timeout, 8-ball? How would you like that for being an asshole?
I'll put your nose in the corner. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, Magic 8-ball. Should we tell our listener and viewers they know about the new music spot that's going to come out and our little separate videos for that? Yep. But we got another piece that's going to come right onto this podcast. Should we let them know what that is? Are we ready to do that?
The big unveiling. Let's see what we got here. Okay, shaking it up. And drum roll, please. The 8-ball says, my reply is no.
Asshole. I told you it's be an asshole to you guys too now.
It is. But guess what, 8-ball? We're going to do it anyway. Randy mentioned it before. We've hinted to it in the past. Starting in our very next episode, we will have 2 brand new segments that we are going to introduce to you. In addition, very, very soon, our intro video, not the song, but the intro video will also change. We have enough footage and things now and photos where we can actually jazz it up a little bit. And so the intro video will be changing this fall, hopefully sooner rather than later. It is on my list of things to do, everybody, but I just haven't quite prioritized it yet. So that will happen sometime this fall. I will let you know when, or maybe I'll just surprise you when you pull up an episode one day. But let's talk about the 2 new segments that are coming on. First and foremost, if you've been a fan of this podcast for any amount of time, you do remember our guest, Michael Pam. Michael Pam is a wrestling fan from the Twin Cities. He's a really good dude, and oftentimes online, on his social medias, he will post life lessons for today. And so we were talking to Michael at WrestleCon, and I said, Michael, what would you think about doing a short video that we can fold into this during the editing process, where we just do Michael's life lessons? And so every episode we will have a new short video from Michael where we will fold in here where he will give you his perspective on life lessons you should learn. So that is segment number 1. Segment number two, I'm equally excited about. It's just a little bit different. It's something that we want to be able to have a lot of fun with. Sometimes the topics on here get pretty serious. Randy and I love to joke around. So we have put together a new segment called Kayfabe Court. And if you don't know what kayfabe means, just go to the Google machine if you're not a wrestling person. But essentially, it means pretend. Okay. So we will have two people that will debate a topic, and we also have someone who is a judge. And the judge will
very, very honorable, a good man. You can't. I don't know why you're laughing. You can't say enough good about this. Fucking fair right down the middle. We'll listen to both sides of the thing and make a ruling.
Randy looks a lot like the person who will be the judge, and I happen to look a lot like one of the plaintiff or the defendants.
Oh, plaintiff. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
And we will have a guest debate me in front of our judge. And Randy's down for this. Randy's got a full costume and everything that he's going to unveil for the world. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't have a costume.
Well, the judge will have his. What is his name?
I'm your co-host.
What is the judge's name? Do you remember his name?
Well, we're still in contract negotiations.
Okay,
getting that finalized. Right. We got to get that done.
I also I haven't talked to him yet, but I really, really, really want to have Officer Rob Justice come on as the bailiff.
That would be. You gotta have law and order in the court.
It'll be a fun 5-10 minute segment for all of you just to have some fun with. The first, and I'm hoping I can get him to come on. It'll be somebody who's been on before. We've talked about him before. He's a great friend of ours. Will come on and debate me on this topic. The topics usually aren't going to be that serious, folks. I promise you. It's just going to be a little fun little segment for us to loosen things up a little bit and to
This is dire stuff.
It is dire
This
stuff.
is very, very, very serious. And the rulings that come down,
they're final.
The judge says either final. This is,
Yep.
We'll see how the judge does. I don't know, but it's going to be entertaining for sure.
We will also have an opportunity for all of you on the free section of our Patreon. Whatever is up for debate, that will also be able to be decided by you, the fans, by voting for free over on our Patreon. Basically, here's the debate. Which side do you stand on? And we'll give the results on the following episode. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Hey. Speaking of social media, we've got a lot of people out here, man. They're going to want to follow you along on the social medias of the world. Where can they find you?
I don't believe they want to follow me.
I bet they
I don't believe it. But if they do, they want to prove me wrong. They could follow me. They could find me at Facebook, of course, Randy Herrig. They could find me at Instagram, Randy_Herrig_wrestling. W tomorrow with the, say it along with me, the longest, girthiest, fleshiest, meatiest handle on the format, because they just won't give me that blue check because they're so jealous. And on YouTube at Randy Herrig, WWT.
I am also over on YouTube. That is where you can find this podcast. So if you're following along with us on YouTube right now, make sure you have subscribed, because this is the only place online. We talked about those songs earlier that Randy and I are going to do intro videos for. This platform right here, YouTube, that will be the only place that you can see and hear the songs that we're talking about. It won't be available anywhere else. So that's it. So follow me. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I am also on Instagram at Gator McGraw, MAGRAW. You can find me on Facebook. We also have our Facebook group. You can go over and check that out as well at Wrestling with Tomorrow, the podcast. Two more things. Over at strictlygator.com, you can buy yourself a lovely Cowboy Gator McGraw micro brawler. Still available.
Isn't he lovely?
Still available.
He gonna fuck you up.
And oh boy, okay. Oh. And if you are looking for a speaker for your next event, mainly I talk to sales teams and leaders about building resilience after setbacks. You can find all that information on a website that is currently being revamped, not fully ready to go by the time this airs. I got about another month to go on it. But regardless, it's at kennyconfidence.com. All right, man. Stay tuned. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. So, hey, listen, everybody, before we close up, I want to give you my final takeaway of this. So your calendar may not care if you're tired, but that doesn't mean you have to pretend that you're fine. Decide what truly matters. Give yourself a little bit of grace and keep showing up where your presence means the most. And with that, my friend, I turn it over to you to close out episode 36 of Wrestling with Tomorrow.
We're all busy. We're all crazy busy. We don't have time for anything, or do we? Take that time. Make that 5-minute call to that friend you haven't talked to in a while. Do that. When you get off work and you're tired, make yourself understand that not everything is about you. Get out of that recliner that felt so good to sit down in. Take them boys to work if that's what needs to be. They need somebody to coach. They need somebody at their basketball game to watch them. Whatever that may be, do it. At the end of the day, you sleep with the person that you were that day, and you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. And they're going to be so proud and so glad that dad or mom or Uncle Randy was there. You know, Mike, I never shared with you, and I don't share anything at this point of the show, but there was a time that I had a kidney stone, and I had promised Nikki's, her ex-husband's brother's daughter. Got it? Niece?
Got it. Yep, following.
That I would dance with her at a dance show. And I had a kidney stone. I passed that sumbitch, and I left the hospital, and I made it there because that's what the job required. And I'm not saying you need to do that too, but when it's important, you be there for somebody. You know, we'll always be here for you, be here for each other too. So we love you. Be good. Take care of each other. We're going to see you here, episode 37.